Hey everybody, so today we are here at our local empty parking lot and we're going to do 6 things you should do when you get your new bike, or just 6 things you should practice on a regular basis. So let's get to it. Okay, so first off, we are going to do cone weaves. We're going to do 3 different types of cone weaves. We're going to do an easy, a medium, and a hard. The hard actually doesn't have any cones, but it's a very extreme weave.
Setup for this is a straight line of cones, every other parking space, or every 16 feet, or 4.8 meters. You're then going to weave through all those cones. This can easily be done with your clutch completely disengaged and in first gear. I averaged about 15 to 16 miles per hour, or 25 kilometers per hour. The next exercise is offset cone weave. Setup is the same as the last, just move every other cone 3 feet or 1 meter to one side. With this exercise, you may need to work the friction zone a little to maintain a slightly lower speed. My bike is really jerky at low RPMs, so I need the friction zone. You may not, and only need a little rear brake. I averaged about 10 miles per hour or 16 kilometers per hour on this exercise. Alright, now the hardest one. It's part U-turn, part extreme weave. We're going to use every other parking space. Start by turning into a parking space and use as much space as possible. Towards the end of the space, turn your head as far as possible to look at the second space over. Initiate your turn and repeat. The friction zone is hypercritical in this exercise. If you're on a DCT bike, you will need to apply rear brake while holding your RPMs up. In the turn, I average about 8 miles per hour or 12 kilometers per hour. Between the turns, you can go as fast or as slow as you're comfortable with. Remember, turn your head as far as possible. This will help you make the turn.
Alright, next up we have turns from a stop. So complete stop, you're going to turn right, you're going to turn left, and we have another kind of easy to hard for this one.
Okay, so setup is a little more complicated for this one. Start with placing 2 cones about 2 feet apart. Go 7 feet from each cone and drop a cone. Then go 7 feet from that cone and drop a cone. Then add 1 more cone about 2 to 3 feet from the last. Start with your bike stopped between the cones and execute a turn. You can start by moving forward a little bit and counter steer to start the turn. Repeat several times, alternating between left and right turns. You will need to use the friction zone in the turns or apply light rear brake on DCT bikes while maintaining slightly higher RPMs. For the hard version of this, we're going to give ourselves less space to make the turn. This will force you to start moving with your handlebars already turned a little in the direction you are going. You will need to maintain the friction zone and apply a little rear brake. If you feel like you're starting to fall, just release the clutch a little and straighten out. On DCT, let off the rear brake and straighten out.
Also, we have turn to a stop. So similar to turn from a stop, we're going to do a tight turn in and come to a stop. That's another real great when you're actually in a parking lot and you got to come and stop. And if your bike's kind of heavy, it might be a little difficult if you don't practice this.
Now we're coming in while moving and coming to a complete stop. Friction zone and rear brake are critical. Do not use the front brake at all on this exercise or you will be prone to dropping the bike. Increase the difficulty by moving in closer to the turn. I could use a little more work on this one.
Alright, now we're moving on to slow race. That is absolutely critical for everybody to be able to do because it really helps you gain balance with your bike, and it makes those tighter turns and everything easier.
It's also fun. It's also really fun.
It's also pretty badass when you're rolling up to a red light and you're kind of like, yeah, okay, let's go.
Your goal in the slow race is to go as slow as possible. Keep your eyes up and looking as far down the road as possible. When you get better at this, you can start looking down to see your speed. But for now, look far down the road.
Then we've got two really important things for on-road. The first one we're going to do is Swerve. So we're going to, if you did the MSF course, it's really similar to that, but it's something good to keep on practicing.
Setup starts with 2 cones about 3 feet or 1 meter apart. Then set up a 7-foot wide or 2 meter wide line of cones 10 feet away or 3 meters. Accelerate to 20 miles per hour, 32 kilometers per hour, countersteer at the cones, and swerve around the line of cones. Swerve both left and right because you never know which side you'll need on the road.
And last but not least, we have emergency braking. So, you know, if someone does something stupid in front of you, you gotta come to a stop fast. You gotta practice your emergency braking. And here's a couple ways of doing that. Build up your confidence level and get better and better at it. Squirrel.
Setup is super easy here. Just 2 cones to indicate where to start braking. Accelerate to at least 20 miles per hour or 32 kilometers per hour and be in second gear. Use both your front and rear brake to stop. Be sure to downshift to first before you come to a complete stop. Also, keep in mind that your rear tire will no longer be loaded, so you'll want to reduce your rear brake as you're slowing down.
All right, everybody, I hope that this was helpful to you. If you liked it, please give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll be back in another one. Hey, everybody, I'm PJ, and this
I'm
is...
Zen.
Let's do that again. Hi, everybody, I'm PJ, and this is...
Zen, this is Zen.
Hi, everybody, I'm PJ.
I'm Zen.
Okay, let's do this again.